42.9 kilometers. One race, one chance, one truth. Andy Schleck leads the 2011 Tour de France by 57 seconds. Cadel Evans sits in second, and he has spent a career chasing this moment. Twice a runner-up in the world's biggest race. Today, one dream comes true, and one dream dies. It's called the Race of Truth, and in Grenoble this afternoon, that moniker was never more appropriate. The 42.5 kilometer final time trial of the Tour de France would be pivotal in determining the 2011 champion. This stage had widely been tipped to be a deciding factor in the outcome of the Tour, and with the top three separated by less than a minute, those predictions would prove correct. The only question remained was this: who would be the beneficiary of the Race of Truth? Despite the lumpy course, Leopard Trek's Fabian Cancellara set the fastest early time of 57:15. The current world champion was in the hot seat. But Saxo Bank rider Richie Porte knocked him off with an excellent performance to record 57:03, which would be good enough for fifth by the stage's end. It was a surprise that Thomas De Gendt, who raised the bar, taking a second off the Australian's mark and moving into the stage lead. He would eventually finish fourth, a commendable effort from the Belgian. After a tour where his chances for personal success have been limited, Tony Martin made the most of his free rein in the time trial. The HCC High Road rider, who has been a vital workhorse for Mark Cavendish's ambitions during this tour, was about to show that in all likelihood, he could be the heir apparent to Fabian Cancellara. 55 minutes, 33 seconds. Tony Martin would win the stage, convincingly beating the time trial world champion and the rest of the field. Quote, "We got into the start and I felt good. Then my confidence grew. Last month I won here, so I just tried to focus on my rhythm. The course helped me with that. Knowing I'd gone well previously on this course helped me take the time I did today." The battle for overall supremacy had begun to play out on the course, with Alberto Contador aiming to topple Thomas Voeckler and possibly Frank Schleck for a place on the podium in Paris. Lower in the GC, Voeckler managed to maintain his fourth place overall, with a time of 57:47. A sterling performance from the Europcar captain, who just yesterday had failed quite spectacularly in his attempt to hold onto the yellow jersey against all odds on Alpe d'Huez. With just 57 seconds separating the Schleck brothers and Evans, all eyes were on the battle between the leading trio. Evans has always been a superior time trial rider to the Luxembourg siblings, and that would prove critical to his chances of overall success against the pair today. And so it was. Evans had almost overhauled yellow jersey Andy's advantage even before the first intermediate time check at 15 kilometers, and that trend would continue throughout the remaining 27.5k. It would spell the end of Andy Schleck's dreams for another year. With Contador on the road ahead of him, Evans continued to pick off the defending champion split times, which had consistently been the second best of the day. At the next two intermediates, the Australian came through just behind Tony Martin. Every pedal stroke, every corner, every breath. This was the time trial of his life. Evans did a course in 55:40, 7 seconds slower than Tony Martin, but would be first in the general classification. Behind Evans, the wheels were coming off the Schleck general classification cart. Both Andy and Frank faded to finish well down the standings on the day, and slipped to 134 and 230 in arrears respectively on the overall standings. Frank had said earlier in the tour that he'd prefer to be 20th overall and have Andy on the top step of the podium. But in 2011, both brothers will share the lower steps of the podium in Paris. The answer to the question we had all been asking of who would win the Tour: Cadel Evans. Quote, "It's not over until I cross the finish line in Paris. I can't quite believe it right now. I did the best time trial I could today. Every day we rode the best we could, and every day the team did 99.9%, if not 100% of what they could do. I had a couple of off days, a couple of moments of bad luck, but we just kept to our plan, and every day just kept working. I can't believe it. Like I've said all along, I just want to do the best tour I can, the best I'm capable of, and if I'm capable of winning it, I just keep trying and keep working at it." For Evans, the disappointment of tour campaigns past will be tempered by what's happened today. One day remains. One professional ride to Paris, one final sprint on the world's most famous avenue. Tomorrow, Cadel Evans becomes the Tour champion. Paris, the Champs-Élysées. 99 kilometers to glory. Today, Cadel Evans will become the first rider from Australia to win the Tour de France. Today, Mark Cavendish will hunt his 5th stage win and try to confirm the green jersey that has eluded him for years. And today, Andy Schleck will stand on the podium yet again in 2nd place. As per tradition, the pacers relaxed as the bunch ambled out towards Paris. The first half of the stage was a promenade towards the city center, with Cadel Evans and his BMC squad obliging the photographers by riding at the head of the bunch. Once the Eiffel Tower reared into view on the horizon, however, there was a slight but perceptible shift in attitude and focus. After BMC had yielded their position on the front of the bunch, the attacking could begin in earnest. But on the first lap, nobody succeeded in breaking the deadlock. It took a determined move from Ben Swift, with 40k to go, to spark the main break of the afternoon. The Englishman was joined in his attempt by a few other riders, and they took advantage of a lull in the peloton's pace to stretch their lead out to over 45 seconds. At the intermediate sprint, Cavendish delivered a warning to the peloton by careering clear to take the points on offer for 7th place, while his lead-out man, Renshaw, squeezed out Rojas for 8th and further strengthened Cavendish's grip on the green jersey. With Lars Bak sitting comfortably in the leading group, HTC Highroad were under no obligation to lead the pursuit behind, and the break still held a 20-second advantage as they reached the bell lap with 6k to race. In the finale, Lamprey and Quickstep contributed to the chase, while HTC's train cranked into action on behalf of Cavendish. The last survivors up front were reeled in with a little over 3k to race, so HTC stepped up their efforts in earnest. With Bernard Eisel and Tony Martin setting a scorching pace, there is an air of inevitability about the finishing sprint. When Renshaw swung off after guiding his leader through the final sweep, Cavendish unsheathed a razor-sharp sprint to put his rivals to the sword for the 20th time in 4 years. For the 3rd time in 3 attempts, Cavendish took a comfortable win on the Champs-Élysées. Bosenhagen and Greipel came close, but they had no answer to Cavendish's burst in the final 200 meters. On crossing the finish line, Cadel Evans was struggling to come to terms with the magnitude of his achievement and admitted that it was difficult to estimate the impact his win would have in Australia. Quote, "I haven't had time to consider that aspect, to be honest. It's been a long process, and it will take a long time to realize what it means. A few people always believed in me, and they're the people that matter the most. We did it. It's been a real pleasure these past 3 weeks." The stage winner, Mark Cavendish, was in an excited mood after his 5th stage win of this tour and his 20th in total. A remarkable figure for a rider who only turned 26 in May. Quote, "I left it until 170 meters to go today. I knew it was going to be tough. I'm so happy and so proud of the guys. It's a great way to finish the tour. I've been trying to get this for the past few years, and finally, I've done it." In spite of becoming the first siblings to finish on the tour podium, there is palpable disappointment for the Schleck brothers at falling short of bringing the yellow jersey back to Luxembourg for the first time since 1958. And so, in Paris once again, Andy Schleck stands in 2nd place. Yet again, the bridesmaid. Still the prince that was promised, but not the king. Meanwhile, Evans became a national hero in Australia, the first Southern Hemisphere winner, a dream realized after years of heartbreak. Cavendish would go on to win that year's World Championships and eventually set the all-time stage win record at the Tour de France. Gilbert would continue his illustrious career in the next few seasons, winning Worlds and Flanders. Cosnefroy would take GC wins at the Vuelta and another Giro, but never again took home the yellow jersey. Samuel Sanchez was officially crowned King of the Mountains, and French revelation Pierre Rolland carried off the white jersey. Garmin Cervelo took home the team's classification. The 2011 Tour de France. It was a race that gave us everything. Thomas Voeckler's impossible yellow jersey defense, Andy Schleck's legendary attack on the Galibier, Cadel Evans' relentless pursuit, Pierre Rolland's fairy tale on Alpe d'Huez, and Mark Cavendish's green jersey dreams finally realized. In the end, it came down to 42.5 kilometers. The race of truth. And the truth was this: Cadel Evans was the strongest rider at the 2011 Tour de France. But the beauty of cycling is that the story never really ends. The road keeps turning, the mountains keep rising, and somewhere, someone is chasing a dream. This has been Tour 11. Thanks for riding with us.